Welcome back to Leading Edge. I'm Jerry Anderson. He's Scott Gibson, superintendent over at Toledo Christian Schools. Great success story. I mean, they go all the way through high school. Now, the school's in the lawsuit, and TCS is not one of them. We're talking about the lawsuit against the health department order. Monclova Christian, St. John's Jesuit, Emmanuel Christian, all teach faith-based courses in school, as does your school's TCS.
Correct.
It's there, it seems that we have a rub infringing on religious instruction that the suit seems to allege causes a breach of First Amendment rights. You're not the attorney, I'm not an attorney, but is that the sense you get of the First Amendment argument?
Yeah, I think that's correct. And while we commend our fellow Christian schools that are on that, we understand and also know that hospitalizations are up, ICU bed capacity is down from our physician partners. And so there may become a time where we would participate in a lawsuit like that. But right now we feel it's best not to. So getting back to your question, every single thing that we do is with a biblical worldview and with Christian teachers that have a biblical worldview teaching every single subject. And it's the same within the other schools as well. And so that's where they're getting at here. We want to make sure we have the freedom to assemble, that we are able to, by constitution, be able to meet and do that. And so we wouldn't want, government to get in the way of that. But we understand that that is a difficult discussion right now, without question. And so, but just to get back to your question again, when we look at the biblical worldview, so it is important within our mission that we educate, disciple, and prepare students to follow Christ and impact culture. And so we're specific in our mission. And so every single day, every minute of every single day is scripted towards that, that our foundation of education is the Bible. And so we believe that from there we can teach, we can learn, and get students to love learning for the rest of their lives.
There's no denying science here. These are not people, you guys are not people saying, oh, this is all a hoax. This doesn't really exist. You recognized earlier that this is a real thing.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So when we look at, we want to make data-based decisions though. Yep. I mean, we fully support that, the Lucas County Health Department said in actuality preschool through 8th grade can continue to learn as long as it's a 8th grade or preschool through 6th grade model, in that students don't transfer classes or whatever it may be. And so we're doing that. But I want to make a distinction here. I think it's really important. When you look at religious classes and private school, our intent, our entire mission is to meet and to partner with families that are also Christians. And so they believe in our mission statement. Right. And so we want to do what's best for our students, what's best for our families, and what's best for our community. And in that collaborative environment, we're able to make great decisions. And in my opinion, it's the same thing as what Mike DeWine said, Governor DeWine said with Lieutenant John Husted. These decisions need to be made at the district level. We love the recommendations from the health department. We want the recommendations. We believe that they are giving us the right data. With that data, then we can make the right decision for our own district. That's where we're all coming down on this.
All right, and so, give me some data. I probably should have jumped in earlier when you talked about the way things are doing, and you're able to treat. What was that fancy electronic thing you put in the classroom?
Yeah. Electrostatic disinfectant machine. So
somebody's going to say, well, they've been up and running since the start of school year. What is the reality? What are you guys seeing in terms of cases?
Yeah, so positive test cases in our community is 5.6%. Now, there's only 9 students in preschool through 8th grade that have tested positive, 9 students. And so that's 1.4%. Wow. And so the data is clear to us that we are simulating what Ohio is and nationally is at a 5.6% positivity rate. So, but I will tell you from a quarantine perspective, that grows quickly. But here's the important data point I think that really matters. We have not seen one student get COVID that was caught in the quarantine net of exposure. So we're not seeing transmission from student to student. What we're seeing is parents giving it to their students. Yeah. That's what we're seeing.
Let's do this one quickly, and we're short on time. Argument out there that some of the pushback is really about sports. St. John's has been known to play some pretty serious hoop over the years, and frankly, Scott, you and I both know. So do the Eagles of Toledo Christian and Coach McWinney.
Go Eagles.
And I know this year especially, we're poised for a really strong season. How do you counter that? Oh, it's really those schools. It's really just about sports.
Well, that's always the question here. But I tell you, these kids have been working their entire careers for these senior moments. And so when you got classes that are senior led, like we do on both the girls and the guys side on the basketball teams, you want to make sure that they get the opportunity. They've been working hard to mitigate protocols as well as far as COVID goes and to implement those. And they're doing really well. We don't see transmission from team to team. And so, my pushback is this, is that kids in gyms, teams, we have segregated the teams, and so has every school, to make sure that we don't see spread happening that way. And so I know that coaches and administrations have put in a lot of steps to make sure these kids can play. That's the part of the high school experience that these kids really look forward to a lot. Sure, academics are important. Absolutely. These are student then athletes. But I got to tell you, I think the health department, my personal opinion, went a little far in saying you got to shut down your gyms and for practices and competitions, when just outside the county, there are teams all over the 88 counties that are still participating. Now, since they've made that order, there's a couple of counties that have since shut down their gyms. But it's interesting, we're not purple, and yet there's 4 other counties that are purple that haven't done that decision. And so we're wondering why they would make that additional step. And so we don't feel that's necessary. We believe we should be able to operate our own building, make that decision on our own as a district.
And we're going to have to leave it right there. My thanks to Scott Gibson, Superintendent, Toledo Christian Schools, keeping us on the leading edge of the struggles to keep schools operating and true to their vision and values in the middle of a public pandemic. When I come back, the banker cashing it in, the retiring Bob LeClaire from Fifth Third on Leading Edge.